An alternative Christmas dinner. We're going to do beef Wellington. Here we have a beautiful piece of beef, and it's ideal for a small couple of people, 2 or 4 for Christmas. It's the prime fillet of the beef. We've also got our mushrooms, thyme and garlic to make a mushroom duxelle. So this is the beginning of the preparation. So here we have a beautiful piece. I'm going to season it well, okay? Salt and pepper, well seasoned, which brings out the flavour of the meat just before you cook it. Now some pepper in my fancy pepper mill. There we go. Pan very hot, really hot. You're not cooking this, you're just searing it. A glug of oil in. Okay, in goes the oil, in goes the beef. We're just browning up on all sides, putting it up against the side to steam in all the juices and the flavour. There we go. That's what you want. You're not cooking, you're just browning to seal in the juices. Turn it again. I just need another plate. I'm going to rest it when it comes off. Okay, now I do both ends. One end, the other end. That's it now. Extra touch here by putting some horseradish on top of the fillet, just to give it a little bit of that beautiful horseradishy flavour. Just so, brush on horseradish, turn it. While it's warm like this, the flavour will be absorbed into the meat. So just a quick brush all over, and that now can rest beautifully there while we get on with the mushroom duxelle. So what we have here are mushrooms that have been finely chopped. Now you can put them into a blender or a Magimix food processor, but you want to pulse it, pulse, because what you don't want is a mush. You want finely chopped mushrooms that are going to be turning into kind of like a pate. So pan is hot and it's a dry pan, because you want it dry and hot to take all the moisture out of the mushrooms. Okay, so that's the mushrooms in. I'm going to add some seasoning, some salt to that. I'm also going to add garlic to that. And give that a little stir. That's all. See the moisture coming out? There'll be a lot of moisture. And you want to cook it through until it's dry. Now I have thyme from the garden, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that in it. Now, if you don't have thyme and you like the flavour of rosemary or flat leaf, you could just flat leaf parsley. You could just put a little bit of that. Don't go out of your way to buy sprigs of thyme and stuff, but you may well have it in the garden. Use ingredients you have. If you don't have them, leave them out, but obviously, you know, if it's a vital ingredient like the mushrooms or what have you, you can't. So there we go. I like to use button mushrooms. They're slightly browner. They're not button, they're chestnut mushrooms. They have a nuttier flavour, I think, and they give more in flavour to your duxelle. So the idea of this is that this goes on the pastry and then the meat goes on top. But we're going to hand over to Mary shortly, who's going to take over that part of the process. So we're just cooking this down till it's nice and dry. We will then take it off and cool it, and then assemble the beef Wellington. So this is the mixture, the mushroom duxelle, quite hot. Want that to cool, and so to cool it a bit faster, I'm actually going to put it in the fridge so that we can move on then to the assembly. On we go now with the duxelle that has cooled nicely. Going to pop it in the middle and work our way out. Okay.
What we need to explain is that we've got Parma ham here on the outside, and it's just layered over, the pieces are layered like that, and the reason we have that is so that the mushroom mix doesn't become absorbed into the pastry, which is coming next.
Okay, so now we have the duxelle on, and Mary's going to pop on the beef and roll it up and show you this. And while she's doing that, I'll just quickly say about the wines that have been chosen, that we've chosen to pair with this, are a French from the Languedoc and a German Pinot Noir. And the names will come up on this video. Mary, over to you.
Here we go. The fillet has been cooling, and it's perfect temperature now, it's just room temperature. So we lay it on the mushroom duxelle, which is on top of the prosciutto, which is on top of cling film. And this is where, just need to get a cloth. This is where we have to very tightly roll and turn the beef.
I mean, it's kind of like rolling up a Swiss roll, if anyone is out there that makes cakes.
Just make sure that the cling film doesn't get in underneath it while it's being rolled. And pull it tight like this. Then you get your cling film at both sides and twist so that the meat takes on a lovely firm sausage, well, not really sausage, but
a solid shape.
A solid shape. And then that goes into the fridge for 20 to 25 minutes until it just firms up like that. So I quickly pop that in. Right, here we are now. We've taken the fillet out of the fridge, and I'm going to take off the cling film, which it's wrapped in. And then just rolls out nicely like that. Get rid of that. And here on this board I have the pastry, which has been again on top of cling film, because the cling film is going to help me to lift the pastry and roll it around the beef. So this is the beef. And just lift the cling film. Again, be careful at this point not to get the cling film stuck up in under the meat. Roll it all the way around. Pull away the cling film. And then I've actually got a lot of extra pastry here, so I'm going to be getting rid of that. And at this side too. And then just pinch it all together. Bring it together like that. And the same over here. There we are. Now, at this stage, I'm going to brush the whole thing with egg wash, egg yolk. Unfortunately, the dog ran away with my pastry brush, so I'm using rosemary.
That had a lovely flavour.
Yeah.
Rosemary flavoured pastry to the whole event. Will I turn it for you?
Yep, thank you.
Let's roll it over. Okay. Now,
On the other side.
is it lovely? Okay, now you're going to roll it up. Okay.
Now, just one final thing is the sprinkle it with beautiful sea salt. That'll give it a gorgeous crispy finish. There we are. So at this stage we have to return it to the fridge. So I'll pop it onto this other board, and it'll go in the fridge for about 20 minutes just to let the pastry rest before we pop it in the oven at 200 degrees, gas mark 6, for about 35 minutes, depending on how you like your beef. You can cook it for longer if you like it less rare.
Here we are out of the fridge. We are just doing some decoration by just scoring it down the sides. It's a very simple decoration. If you'd like, you could use some of the extra pastry that came off the ends to make it a lattice, or you could have the children make holly leaves or berries or branches or whatever, just to make it a family affair. That is done now with extra egg wash, and now we're putting it into the oven. So here we are, out of the oven. Beautiful, look at that. We're going to rest it now for 10 minutes. Now, here we go. Let's cut and see. All will be revealed. Wow. Look at that. Just perfect.